Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you game 1 of a best of 3 between Tofuk and Chich in the Division 1 playoffs of the WARNO League. Today they are playing on Vertigo Duel, and on our left in the red we have Chich playing with the 1st UK Armoured, and on our right in the blue we have Tofuk playing with the 8th US Infantry Division. Been a while since I've done a competitive cast on the channel, and it is great to be doing it once again. I'll be covering both the finals for the WARNO League and the Steel Division League, so look out for that in the coming weeks. But we're starting here today with the quarterfinals of the WARNO League in Division 1, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how these players play this out, because I played against Chich in the group stage of the WARNO League Division 1 and he absolutely schooled me, so I'm looking forward to see what he does against Tofuk, who I actually am not too familiar with. But let's have a quick look at these deployments. So we got Chich here with the 1st UK Armoured. Pretty meta division at the moment because the 2nd UK quite often gets banned, whilst the 1st UK Armoured still has some decent forward deployment units like these Terriers Paras he got here. He's got the Milan 2 Paras, so you can get these Milan 2s into really nice positions early on. He's got the SAS Patrol, he's got some scouts there. Further back he's got the Warrior Milans, which are going to be supported by the Chieftain Mark 11 and a couple track Rapiers. He's got Gazelle AH1s at the start. And these are just really nice combinations of units that can solidly push after your initial units get into position. So the idea being that the Terriers Para will move into these places with their advanced deployment. You follow it up with the strong APCs of the Warriors and the fire support of the Chieftain Mark 11, and he's also going to be able to capture these sectors further back with those Mark 11s as well. So he'll get Echo, he'll get Bravo on the top side, and probably try and contest Delta. On the side of Tofuk, he's got an F-16 out at the start. Glorious looking aircraft. He's got an AH-1F Cobra with the Black Hawk moving in. Jaeger Auftalers leading the charge, OH-58CS air-to-air helicopter as well. He's got a Stinger and Engineers Dragon on the top side. He's got an ITO that's going to be heading to set up an AT in the mid. He's got an I-Hawk there and a couple more Engineers with Dragon. He's got an M35 supply. He's got an M1 Abrams as his command and a couple more Engineers further back. Nice thing about the 8th is it does come with some very chunky infantry squads, so that's what he's going to be trying to make use of in order to gain an advantage throughout this game. Fighting Falcon coming in there, taking out the Gazelle, but the Tornado F3 already in response from Chich is going to take down the F-16, but the Tornado F3 is traded by the I-Hawk already. An explosive start. Very nice indeed. The OH-58CS here actually failed to shoot down the Gazelle AH-1 with its Stinger missiles, which is actually kind of crazy. It looks like the transport here got sniped out, so the Terriers Para went down before they unloaded, it seems. But the SAS Patrol are going to be moving in next to the Jaeger Auftaler. They do have a satchel charge, so at close range they're pretty decent, but they're going to be also attacked now by Engineers there. On the bottom side, we're actually going to be seeing the Black Hawk provide fire support against the Terrier Para here. They are already low on cohesion, which is not good at all. These aero rifles in their large numbers can certainly take advantage of that, finish off that unit on the bottom side, remove Chich's chance of getting in here early on. So nice little play here from Tofuk, getting the Black Hawk in early on. SAS Patrol on their last legs. Can Chich save them? He has managed to jump them out in time to avoid the light arms fire. Meanwhile, Warrior Milan's now following up, going to be engaging the Engineers at range, and this is exactly how you want to be using these Warriors. You want to keep them at range so they cannot be shot at by infantry AT whilst providing their 30mm cannon fire support. Another F-16 Falcon coming over the top. Interesting that he invested into the F-16. Does manage to get away from the Track Rapier. Track Rapier, not the most reliable AA, that's for sure. Meanwhile though, the Jaeger Auftaler did manage to get an AT onto one of the Warrior Milans, so one of them's gone down. But now Chich trying to aggressively push up. Tofuk looks like he's going to try and jump back in and take out the second one at least before the Jaeger Aufklärer go down. Misses the shot because of the low cohesion. And the Warrior Milan is going to be just fine. Now at range, the Dragon can get a shot onto the Milan. That Milan in a bad spot as it gets sandwiched between the Ito and the Dragon. These engineers, you bring them mainly as just a stat stick, honestly, for multiple guns. They're pretty cheap. They come with 10 M16s, and the Dragon's just kind of there to deal with potential sort of armored vehicles at range, like the Warriors. And the normal Dragon's going to be good enough to take them out. But really nice job here. Wow. Tornado F3 from Chich. Absolutely clutch. Takes down both the F-16 and the F-111F. And that laser-guided bomb only killed a gun group on the bottom side, which will secure this sector for Tofuk, but I can't help but feel that that was a terrible trade. Now the Ito. Oh, is it going to get the kill onto the Chieftain Mark 11? It doesn't quite. Another F-16 coming in, looking for the kill onto the Chinook. Chit's trying to be cheeky there, get it really far up so that he can get his SAS Patrol and Armoured Rifles back online. But the Chieftain Mark 11, oh, the Ito, I think it just missed. That Chieftain Mark 11, lucky to be alive. Meanwhile, M113 is actually getting their 50 cal fire onto the tracked Rapier. That's going to want to do a runner because it will go down over time. But meanwhile, on the top side, the two Warrior Milans with the gun group managing to find the engineers and pin them down within 300 meters. The engineers cannot fire their Dragon. So in this situation, the Warrior actually wants to be closer. You don't want to be so close that the Jaeger Aufklärer can then fire its Panzerfaust, otherwise you can get in trouble. In this case, he's probably just going to wait until they are low on cohesion, and then you can probably charge in with the Warrior Milan. It won't be too much of a problem. But here comes the F-111F. The Chieftain Mark 11 did manage to smoke off in time, so the F-111 is not going to be able to find the kill. Meanwhile, Track Rapier did not go down on this bottom side, saved by the Warrior Milans. Chich, so far, I feel, has traded very, very nicely, and whilst he doesn't have position in this bottom side due to the chunky units that Tofuk has, it's, in terms of like kills and losses, I feel like he's just traded really, really, really well. M60 has managed to take care of one of the Warrior Milans, but these gun group and the scouts really not going to last too long under the fire of the AH-1F. The Track Rapier struggling to get shots on target. The F-111 here did manage to kill the Chieftain Mark 11 on the bottom side as well, which is very significant because he's not going to be able to get in here and cap this back. Tofuk, what he's going to be trying to do right now is try and solidify this bottom side. So he's got his CP vehicle coming in, his little Mutt CP. That's going to be capping this and giving him the points advantage. But on the top, this push is really being dismantled right now. The Track Rapier has gone down. The AH-1F has cleaned up the rest of the infantry. The Thunderbolt is now coming in, and that's going to take out the Chieftain Mark 11, and the Warrior Milan goes down to the cannon of the AH-1F. Tornado F3 once again coming in, getting beautiful trades and taking down the F-16. What an absolute chad. Ihawk, can it fight back and get the kill? Or the OH-58 CS even took a shot, but the F3 is out high and dry. Wow. That is incredible. Those F3s really, really doing nicely for Chich in this game so far, but Chich actually has nothing left on this top side, so a fantastic counter to that push by Tofuk, bringing in the M60, bringing in the AH-1F. He perfectly picked the correct combination of units to shut down that push, and all you can see there is just flames in the distance. And the F-16 once again coming in, taking out the Gazelle AH-1, really not allowing those helicopters to get any value in this game. And that is actually costing Chich quite a bit, because those Gazelles, they used to only be like 20 points, but they are, I think, quite a bit more now. And so when they're getting shot down by the F-16s like that, over time those F-16s are finding a lot of value. And one of the Warrior Milans has gone down. It got a little bit too close for comfort. The Laws got on target. Armoured rifles out in the open, going to be going down. And now we're getting in a bit of a sticky situation for Chich. Oh, especially with the Ito finding the kill there onto the Chieftain Mark 11. All the trades that went well for Chich early on have now completely turned around. His top side being dismantled. The Chieftain Mark 11's going down in the mid so far. Things not looking too good now for Chich. Tofuk managing to really solidify his position here. And it's going to be really, really difficult. When you're playing from Chich's side of the map and you lose position in this tree line and in this tree line, especially these buildings in general, very difficult to get back in here without substantial like artillery support and fire support from the Warrior Milans. And so far the Warrior Milans, they haven't really been doing too well on this bottom side. He's been letting them get picked off by infantry AT at close range, and that is something that can be costly over time. But he did manage to clean out the Ito. The Ito actually ran out of ammunition entirely there, so wasn't able to fire back. But an Ito now joining the engineers in this building, that's going to be a substantial threat to the Chieftain Mark 11, which is going to have to smoke itself off. The fire support is coming in from the Milans here, which is good, as long as the Dragon and the Ito don't manage to land the shot. But the M60 goes down to the Chieftain Mark 11s. He's managing this nicely, but the A10 Thunderbolt is coming in. Finds the Warrior Milan. Oh, and the strafe onto the Chinook. Tornado F3 coming in clutch once again, though. Will shoot down the A10, but the Eyehawk finds the kill, and afterwards the Chieftain Mark 11 I think went down to the HGM of Tofuk. Now the Jaguar GR1 coming in with the bombing strike, trying to clean out some of this infantry, but takes down a mechanized rifle, gets shot down in the process. Definitely not worth. The Ito swiftly moved out of position by Tofuk. Nicely done. Now the AH-1F Cobra, something that the 8th get in abundance, really going to be putting down the pain. The track rapier is going to have to land its shots here if it wants to stop this AH-1F from absolutely dismantling all this infantry. The trouble with the track rapier is it can't fire on the move because it's guided. So it has to be stationary, and it makes it very easy for helicopters to pull in and out of range of the track rapier and make them miss. In this case, the AH-1F getting caught there by the missiles. The track rapier does have some decent accuracy, so 2 shots on target there is going to take down a second AH-1F. A little bit of a waste on the second one there for sure. Tofuk, no need really to commit that once he saw the first one go down, but might have been focusing on his micro on the top side here as the Jäger Aufklärer are starting to move across the open in order to capitalize on the initial destruction up here. But it is a little bit too late. I would have liked to have seen Tofuk maybe push harder on the top side sooner after he destroyed a lot of units up there. Nice use of the Jäger Aufklärer. Jäger Aufklärer, really strong recon unit because they are not only good in combat with those 10 G3A3s and the MG3 Panzerfaust for dealing with enemy armor, they are a thick squad, and so sort of what I call suicide scouting is actually relatively viable. Nice use of the F111 there to clean out the rifles will allow the Jäger Aufklärer to move up unharassed, and the M60 now going to be having to look for shots with the Chieftain Mark 11. That F111F is quite nice in this sort of situation when there's no AA, because it does get 2 strikes. You see it's only used 2 of its LGBs, and it's waiting to line up the second 2. Chich feeling safe right now, but as long as there is line of sight, that is going down, as those LGBs have very nice accuracy these days. Very, very reliable, and getting the job done there. Now the command vehicle on this top side going to be rushing in there. The Jäger Aufklärer taking positions in these buildings going to be making it more and more difficult for Chich to get back in there. Meanwhile, Chich has managed to dislodge and kill off the rest of the units in this sector, but needs a leader to cap this. And so far, all his Chieftain Mark 11 commands have gone down. So he's going to have to invest in another command unit in order to cap these. And all the while, Tofuk going to be pushing himself to a +4 as he takes that top sector, which is quite significant in a 1v1. You can see he's going to win in 9 minutes and 55 seconds if the game continues as is. Now, M1A1s arriving on the field. This is another thing that the 8th Infantry does get in abundance, is these M1A1s. Chich, he's going to want to basically engage these M1A1s at max range with the Chieftain Mark 11, because Chieftain Mark 11 does get a 20 penetration main gun for 170 points, which makes them one of the most cost-efficient tanks in the game at the moment. But the Abrams, the nice thing about the Abrams is it's very good on the move. Very accurate, also has a 20 pen gun, 17 front armor. A lot better than a Chieftain Mark 11, but can still die to a Chieftain Mark 11. Challenger Mark 3, though, is joining us. This is the upgraded Challenger with the explosive reactive armor, giving it 12 health. And that is certainly going to be a big challenge for Tofuk to get rid of. That M60 going to get easily taken out, but I was going to say they're getting pretty close. It's 2 more shots from the M1A1, 1 more shot for the Challenger Mark III. Chich is actually not going to commit to that. He is going to smoke off, playing it safe. Meanwhile, on this bottom side, though, nice positioning here from the Warrior Milan. He's getting decent fire support into the aero rifles as they engage the armored rifles. Challenger Mark III going for the shot. Oh, the risky business. F111F coming in for the laser-guided bomb. At the same time, smoke just about staying up long enough for the Challenger Mark III to reverse out of that situation. But just like the Warrior Milans, now the Fox going to be coming in here. And you can see that that's going to be popped by the F111. Not sure if that was a misclick. He probably would have preferred to take out the Chieftain Mark 11 than the Fox. But the Fox does provide a lot of DPS against these infantry squads, which are probably the main thing that Tofuk's trying to keep alive in the backside of the sector for the time being, so that he can continue to have pressure here. Meanwhile, on the top side, the Warrior Milans using the hill to get shots down onto the Jäger Aufklärer. Jäger Aufklärer moving up. Oh, does manage to get a hit onto the Chieftain Mark 11 there. Can it find another? Currently being stunned pretty quickly under fire from the armored rifles and the Warrior Milan with low cohesion. M60 is getting good damage in here. In the middle, Milan 2 doesn't manage to find the M3A1 Bradley. On the bottom side, Abrams sniping that Warrior Milan. That's going to be staying alive as well. Now Hemet coming in to provide the repairs for the M1A1. Chich doing the same with a Bedford supply for his Challenger Mark III. One problem that you do get with these tanks that have more HP is they do take longer to repair. So they are out of action for longer because of that. But on this top side, no decisive push coming through just yet from Chich. Taking it easy. The trouble is, at the moment, is we are about 18 minutes into the game, and Tofuk is almost at 1,000 points. He's sitting on a +4, 6 minutes till victory. So it's getting to the point where Chich can't really let that stand, and will want to get commands into these sectors that he has somewhat contested. Like on this bottom side where he's got the armored rifles and gun group in position, really nice place for him to pull in a command right now. On the top side, he's almost broken this back in his favor. Tornado F3, can it find the kill? Oh, nice, another F16 going down, but the PVADs finishing off from the damage that the Eyehawk initially dealt. And that crashing into the side of the mountain there. Oof. Very cool explosion though. Oh, that's not good. The Chinook getting taken out on the ground by the M60. Bit of a mistake there from Chich. He's been using them really, really far up to make sure that he can get good value out of his supply. You want to be able to repair, rearm, reman your units as close to the front line as possible. But if you're losing supply like that, really not good. And that's not the first Chinook he's lost. That is now the second. So, unfortunate. Meanwhile, Chich now spreading out gazelles, getting recon all over the place, taking advantage of Tofuk's kind of lack of AA, really. The Eyehawks, more than enough to take care of the tornadoes, as we've seen. But only one PVAD's on the top side. So these gazelles actually have pretty free reign at the moment to scout around the edges of these engagements. Warrior Milans moving up, trying to get some shots on target. Meanwhile, artillery still harassing here. Tofuk relying on the M109A2. I think the 8th does also get access to the M110, but I don't think Tofuk has it. Oh, UH-60 supply. Very, very ambitious supply there from Tofuk. Gets taken out by the armoured rifles. Now a Challenger Mark II joining the party on the top side. That will be something that the Abrams will struggle to deal with. The 20 front armor here gives it the advantage against the M1A1. This Bradley in a nasty position, potential side shots with a TOW 2. Meanwhile on the bottom, Tofuk for the entire game hasn't really struggled too much holding this sector. So that's gone well for him. But now the Bedford supply has moved up here, the armoured rifles back to full strength and the gun group. They can move up, take out the mechanized rifles. Which he just needs to get in these commands. It seems like he's almost been too lax so far with these command points. And whilst he is in an advantageous position on this bottom side, he hasn't really capitalized on it as quickly as he probably should have in the game so far. Also on this top side, there's quite a lot of units, and you can see the unit disparity is actually quite far in Chich's favor. It's just difficult for Chich to see what's going on here, whilst also trying to manage like a tank engagement on this bottom side, for example. The M3A1 Bradley getting some good damage in there with the TOW 2. TOW 2 going to be crashing into the ground, but that Challenger Mark III you can see took 3 health damage. The mechanized rifle spotted on this bottom side. They should get taken care of. Meanwhile, Chieftain Mark 5 AVR raid, 2 Chieftain Mark 11s, surely going to be finishing off the fire teams here pretty quickly. Chieftain Mark 11s are also going to want to try and get into line of sight of that M3A1 Bradley. SAS Patrol revealing their position so they can use their sniper to kill the ITO. And these Chieftain Mark 11s and the Challenger Mark III now pushing back through this sector. Gonna have to be a little bit careful here. The Rapier, he's gonna want to make sure that kills this AH-1F, because worst case scenario, the Track Rapier just misses all its shots, the AH-1F gets rockets on target, and this tank engagement goes really, really badly. But to be honest, it doesn't look like it's gonna matter as the F-111F comes in with the laser-guided bombs. The laser-guided bombs actually missed because it looked like they maybe targeted the Chieftain Mark 11 that already died. But the M1A1's already managed to trade one of those Chieftain Mark 11s. Tornado F3 failing to kill the F111 this time around. That Challenger Mark III in a very bad spot. These two M1A1s with their accuracy hitting the mark nicely initially against these forces, and that's helped out a lot. M3A1 though does get picked off on this bottom side. You can see there is a lot of potential here for supplies to come in, or commands to come in, but I mentioned about 5-10 minutes ago that Chich really needs to start to get a move on with these commands. And it seems like he's waited way too long. 1,900 score for Tofuk. He is now going to be pushed down to only a +2. Gazelle, AH-1s finding and attacking the aero rifles. Not going to find the kill. Now only a +1 as Chich resecures the top side. He has managed to even things out. So, it's not looking awful. The only trouble that Chich has right now is all it takes really is Tofuk sneaking a command in for like a few seconds, and he's gonna he's basically just gonna win the game. But Chich has managed to amass a very decent amount of forces here. Tofuk's completely lost position on this bottom side. This sector, however, is completely open for the taking. So Chich, he could come in here, try and cap this, then start pushing to try and get his score above Tofuk's before the end of the game. It's going to be a big ask, because even like on a +1 right now, I'm not sure that Chich has enough time to get a score above Tofuk's, so he has that to worry about. But honestly, Tofuk will be feeling the pressure right now. Chich has a really nice ground position. Tofuk, whilst he does have a good number of M1A1s on the field, has a serious lack of recon and infantry support. And there's recon on the top side for the Jaeger Aufklärer. He's going to want to keep them on return fire though. This Jaeger Aufklärer on the bottom side, it looks like they're actually going to kill the Lynx AH-7 here. They're going to be able to take it down. A little bit more. There we go. Takes it down. Very nice indeed. Chieftain Mark 11 down on the top side though. But they did manage to kill the command. So that's going to take away any chance of Tofuk capturing that for the time being. A little bit of a mistake on Tofuk's part for allowing that to go down. Meanwhile, Abrams pushing in at close range. Need to be careful here because there is still the Challenger Mark III and the Chieftain Mark 11, and yes, while they're currently damaged, they are going to get fixed up. The issue that Tofuk could run into is that the armored rifles land like the M72 Law onto the Abrams, causing cohesion loss, and then Chich can capitalize with the tanks. Tornado GL1 coming overhead. His PVADs turned off and on again. Seed not quite able to be used there. Did manage to land a shot onto the aero rifles, but they are perfectly fine. The Black Hawk pilot shrugging it off, carrying on. Here we go. Armored rifles going to be landing those law shots. You can see that the cohesion loss here very fast causes a stun onto the M1A1. This is when units like these tanks would like to pounce. Unfortunately, they're not fixed up just yet. This is very risky moves right now from Tofuk. He's trying to get the M1 Abrams in here. Gonna actually move forward the Black Hawks to provide MG fire support onto the enemy infantry. Is going to be contesting. Smokes himself off. So this is the problem that Chich is going to have, right? Like, the main thing to do right now is just Tofuk's going to smoke off the M1, force Chich to overextend on this bottom side, and then win the game that way. And then if it doesn't work on the bottom side, you can just try and do it on the top side. At the moment, the M1 doesn't last long enough. It does in fact go down. And Tofuk has lost both those M1A1s. Is he going to lose a second? Maybe he won't. Are the armored rifles out of ammo? They are. And the warrior's gone down. So Chich has actually fallen for that overextension. The M1A1 coming in from the flank here takes out the tracked rapier there. Chieftain Mark 11 at close range. Should be able to get the job done, but the Jaeger Aufklärer with the side shots. This is disastrous for Chich. He's really just committed to stop Tofuk getting that cap, but has lost so much in the process. That is really, really bad news for Chich, because he's going to probably lose these armored rifles shortly as well. As the aero rifles come through, PVAD's providing support there to kill those off. Now it's just 2 tanks left here from Chich. Only a matter of time before another leader comes in and contests the sector. F-111 also managing to get off the laser-guided bombs, and the Challenger Mark III goes down. The one and only that Chich had in the deck is now dead. The M109's still providing smoke, even though there's no leader yet. But a mechanized rifle leader on the way. The Helmet ready to fix up the M1A1. This is looking pretty rough right now. God, there were so many units here for Chich, and they just got all dismantled. There's a couple of times in this game where Tofuk has completely ruined entire chunks of forces from Chich, and it has been decisive. It has been decisive, and Chich, he's done a good job of recovering, but in this game it feels like he's always been playing a little bit of catch-up. Hasn't been decisive enough with his commands, and that could cost him as we move into 10 minutes left on the clock. Still got to catch up 1,900 points. It's a long way off, and the mechanized rifle leader here, it's very, very close to contesting this sector, which will give the +1, will potentially give Tofuk the win. M109 is going to be almost killing off the Centurion Mark V AVRE here. These Centurion Mark V AVREs can actually be really, really good for fire support against enemy infantry. They do have a chunky 3.2 HE gun. M1A1, all risky business as that goes down to 1 health on the top side. But this is where we've got to look. Down here, the mechanized rifle leader running into position. If he gets the smoke down to cover them, it's going to be over. And to be honest, even without the smoke, what's going to stop this right now? The aero rifles coming into position with the M1A1. I mean, even these armored rifles moving forwards, they're going to get killed by the leader itself. And maybe Chich can invest into a bomber that can kill off the mechanized rifle leader, but he's got 40 seconds until Tofuk takes the victory. So, yeah, can he get this infantry into position quick enough? It doesn't look like he will. Engineers on the top side going to go down. In the meantime, here comes the Jaguar looking for the hero bomb strike and does not find it. That will be curtains for Chich in game 1 of this best of 3, because I don't believe there's a way that he's going to be able to kill that off, especially with the aero rifles in the way that will be able to get the kill onto the Warrior Milan. The mechanized rifle leader also has its own M72 lore, and that is it. Game 1 goes to Tofuk in what was a very, very spicy first game of this series. You see the kills and losses incredibly close at the end there. Chich certainly had a ground advantage, a massive ground advantage, until he was forced to overcommit for the command. And as I mentioned before, mismanagement of conquest points in that, I think, is what cost Chich the game, because if he wasn't so under pressure to kill that contesting CV, he wouldn't have overextended all of those units and they wouldn't have gone down, and he would have maintained his strong position on that bottom side, eventually capturing the bottom side sector as well and potentially winning the game. It would have, of course, been playing catch up with the conquest points for the rest of the game, but alas, Tofuk played it very well. Got some really nice flanks in there on the bottom side at the end. The utter destruction using the H1F Cobra and the A10 on the top side was glorious. So fantastic game from these players. Look at that hero tornado though. This tornado was insane. Took out 3 Fighting Falcons, the Thunderbolt and the F-111 there. This one also taking down a Cobra and a Fighting Falcon pays itself off. Chieftain Mark 11's great value for money units which really is one of the backbone of the first UK Armoured. The Chieftain Mark 11s are really one of the main reasons you can get a lot of value out of them. And then in terms of the 8th Infantry, surprised to see the 8th Infantry honestly used in the competitive game, but the F111s here really doing a good job with those laser guided bombs. Challenger Mark 3, Chieftain Mark 11s, both of them going down to this one F111F. The Cobras can be super scary if there's not enough AA, and Tofuk certainly showed that off. The M1A ones, really reliable, solid tanks for their price point. Yeah, it's a nice all-round deck, and Tofuk made good use of it here to take advantage of Chich in game 1. So that is it for this one. That is game 1 going over to Tofuk. It is of course a best of 3, so you guys have got 2 more potential games to look forward to, but if Tofuk takes the next one, then that's going to be it. He's going to move on to the semi-finals. Chich, of course, going to try and stop that happening, but that's it for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.